Welcome back, Angus. Again.
Sorry, it was a rough night.
You didn't listen?
Yeah, well, people generally tend to have a difficulty with that when they're asleep.
Of course.
Again, how many times have I drifted off into it?
A few.
You should have woken me. I mean, can't help it after.
Yes, you've told me before.
I'm sorry. I am only just waking up again.
I understand.
Work?
Yes.
Not part of the test, though.
No. No, this part isn't.
Did you ever hear the one about the Iron Man?
The Ted Hughes book?
No. Not the Ted Hughes book. No, the Iron Man used to live around here.
A guy called the Iron Man.
Yes and no. I mean, Iron Man, no. It wasn't made of metal and didn't have bionic implants, but iron liver, yeah, sure.
A drunk.
Oh, no, I mean, the entire opposite, really. The guy was a tank. I mean, every day and every night he'd go out and drink. I mean, this is like the proper stuff, the stuff that would line the streets of Dublin with puke. Didn't really matter what it was, just went down the hatch. Became a cycle. Empty, refill, empty, refill, empty, refill. I mean, all the alcohol consumption wasn't for nothing. Just built up his liver's tolerance until he could just keep drinking all night and stay steady on his feet. People caught word of this and started turning up to the bars in hopes of seeing him. When they did, you know what people are like, they make anyone famous. They've always got to give him a nickname. So, one day they just saw him drinking whiskey like water and there was never any doubt. Thus, the Iron Man.
The story doesn't ring a bell.
Didn't think it would, just trying to hack through the ice.
I wouldn't really know much about that sort of stuff. I'm not really the drinking type.
You're one of those straight edge, completely teetotal guys.
Not exactly, I just refrain. I don't see the joy of poisoning your body.
Health freak, then.
I just prefer not to compromise the faculties of my body. I like to stay grounded and focused.
Impressive answers. Is that why you don't drink? You just stay up all night reading the dictionary and rehearsing those eloquent answers you have.
I'm just used to being asked that question a lot.
Don't we dream of just leaving our boundaries behind? Just straying from reality a bit?
The trouble can be in finding a way to come back. But it's an interesting story, I suppose.
Hardly.
A man altering his nature. If you present someone with the means to change, then change is possible.
In theory.
In theory, yes.
So what are these tests for, then?
To provide evidence for a theory, yes. Shall we?
Well, what if it's not enough?
Enough?
You know, like, what if there's no answer? What if after all these experiments, tests, analysis, applications of data, what if there's nothing? What if there's no answer?
Something that's totally inexplicable.
Yeah.
In such cases, I'd say there can never be enough evidence. There can always be one more experiment.
You know, they say madness is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Well, you'll just have to wait for that different result then, won't you?
Well, then surely you realise that the odds are astronomically and terribly against you supporting this theory.
Then you use it against the theory. It works both ways.
But what if there's no yes or no answer? A completely mixed test with answers on both sides of the fence.
Change the test.
You scientists have got an answer for everything, don't you?
It certainly seems that way.
Leave nothing unexplained, right? You know, I was a bit dubious at first when Paul told me about this. Admittedly, I was playing the skeptic a bit. I didn't realise how much fun I'd be having.
So you're having fun?
Sure, why not? You're gonna write that down, are you?
No. No, our test isn't about monitoring fun. Believe it or not, it's about choice.
Well, I guess I better not be indecisive then.
Shall we get down to it?
Shoot.
Okay. You head back home alone. And on the way, you discover a wallet. Do you turn it in, leave it, strip it of cash and either turn it in or leave it?
No one's around.
There's no one there.
I turn it in.
No one's about and no one saw you. Would you look inside the wallet?
Not at all.
Not even a peek.
I do the honourable thing.
What if it has a contact number in it?
Well, that's something different, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, how would I know without looking in it?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter, it's for something to happen after it's been handed in.
So, handing it in personally isn't something you'd do? No thought for a personal reward?
I guess not. I mean, you know what they say, money isn't everything.
Interesting. What is everything?
Principles.
And these govern the way you think?
Influence, not govern. I mean, I'm not controlled by my thoughts.
But you are less impulsive.
I'd say more rational than impulsive, yes. I mean, that way I get to deliberate the consequences.
But surely you're contradicting yourself. If, as you say, principles are everything, and principles are by their nature uncompromising, then how can you deliberate the consequences? Once principles enter into the picture, the ends can never justify the means. So where do your principles leave you?
Well, I suppose you can't always act on impulse.
I'm not saying act on impulse, but once you say that you have principles, the consequences become irrelevant. If these impulses align with the principles, then so be it.
But there's always got to be some rational thought process.
So acting on impulse is irrational.
I'll say people should just be cautious.
I find the beauty of impulse is the mind's desire to break from the norm. Take this. Every day you go to the same restaurant, order the same meal. You enjoy it, but you never choose anything else. Is this not naivety? Close-mindedness?
Well, maybe, but if it's a good and satisfying meal, then why change it?
Sometimes we never know what's best, until we choose another. Surely this is freedom of thought.
Yes, but freedom allows us to separate a good choice from a bad one.
How can you ever have a good choice without having made a bad one? If you order the same breakfast every day, without ever trying another one, how can you know if it's a good choice or a bad one? For all you know, you could have ordered the worst thing on the menu.
For all I know, I could have ordered the best.
Shall we continue? You're heading home, and you're in an unfamiliar place. The path ahead seems to split. One way is lit, and the other dark. Which path do you choose?
That's what it boils down to, right? Left or right? Lit. The left side.
As you start to head towards the left path, you spot a dark-clothed person leaning on a fence. What happens now, Angus?
What are they going to do?
It's entirely up to you.
This person, what kind of person are they?
However you interpret them to be. You're the one making the choices here.
Okay, I interpret. You know what? I interpret that it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think, because in every eventuality, there's always going to be something thrown at me which is going to sway my judgment, which is going to make me choose the other direction. choose something else.
Is this not how our minds work? The metaphorical weighing scales? The world in balance, or not?
I think you're intent on testing the limitations of my choices. I'm saying, if I go left, I've got a threatening person to consider and all that entails. If I go right, you'll say the light starts to fizzle out. You'll say there's a sign stuck on the wall saying, beware, no return, choose again. And I'm going in circles.
In theory, we all are. Does the world not turn? The universe is a reality of circles. The world, one huge circle. And it's us that tries to straighten everything out.
Yeah, but that's what you're doing here. I mean, you've engineered this test. The world isn't like that. When do we ever have to choose between these circumstances when walking home?
Does the world not throw these obstacles at us?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in life, everything doesn't go bad. Everything's not so conflicted.
As a matter of fact, our minds get severely conflicted with instances such as these. After a while, something will end up making sense. It's just a matter of time.
Time spent going in circles. Yes, no, left, right, wrong. This isn't an inescapable cycle of choice. It doesn't seem to matter what choice I make, I always seem to get to the same destination.
Maybe you will. You'll never know. You can't let fate stop you making a choice. Nor can you ignore the choice. You have to pick a side of the fence at some point.
Yeah, I understand, but do you have to be...
Rational? True. But that's the aim of this experiment, to measure the nature of choice, no matter what that choice might be.
This is how messed up psychology can be. You just want to get inside someone's brain, don't you?
There's nothing messed up about it. Rather, it's the study of how messed up someone's brain can be.
It's not very tangible, is it? All this theory and speculation.
It has a certain degree of groundedness in reality.
Not fully.
Not fully, no. But then what does?
What's next?
Final thoughts?
I'm still none the wiser to how this test is going to be used.
Well, it's going to prove or disprove any theories.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you a copy of the paper.
So how many brains have been probed by this test?
So far, you're the first. There will be more, and more choices to be made.
I'll give him a heads up.
Well, thank you for choosing to come and do this, taking the time out. I'll let you know how it goes. See you around. Welcome back, Angus. Again.
Sorry, it was a rough night.
You didn't listen?
Yeah, well, people generally tend to have difficulty with that when they're asleep.
Of course.
Again, how many times have I drifted off into it?
A few?
You should have woken me. I mean, can't help it after.
Yes, you've told me before.
I'm sorry. I am only just waking up again.
I understand.
Work?
Yes.
Not part of the test, though.
No. No, this part isn't.